Who is Leeroy? Is it Andile Leeroy Cana or
Yeah.
Leeroy Andile Cana?
It's actually Leeroy Cana. First thing first, I'm closer. You know what I mean? I'm pure closer, and a lot of people don't know that based on whatever that they're looking at. You know what I mean? But I'm pure closer from the Eastern Cape. You know, like from East London in particular. From Tanzania, Ngakula, and then I actually stayed in different places. You know, as I was growing up. Went to Port Elizabeth, stayed in Port Elizabeth for a little while, came back to East London. I went overseas as well, you know what I mean, and came back to South Africa and pretty much, yeah, I'm just a very simple person, you know. If you get to know me, a lot of people talk to me and tell me that I have wisdom for someone who really doesn't go out as much often as other people. You know what I mean? I've got so much wisdom because I have diversity in my thinking. You know what I mean? So yeah, pretty much I'm that kind of a person. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So Dumile Dumengani, like
So man sitting to me, well, first thing first, this is not a self-proclaimed doom. I understand. So because without people, I would never even do anything, you know, because I get supported by the same people. So that's why it's very important for me. I don't look down on anyone. Noma kuthiwa uphuma kuphi, I try my best to support whatever that you do, to give you an advice equally, especially if it's something that I've experienced before or a journey that I've actually walked. I'm more than willing for free of charge to actually take you through the steps of whatever that I've done that has worked for me to get through past the stage. And I'm also willing to share the unfortunate part of I've failed in this stage. Maybe I don't have an answer for your question. Yeah,
okay.
pretty much, yeah.
So you're a father. Tell us about your daddyism.
Okay, cool. I think being a dad is the most beautiful thing in the world, you know. I'm a father to the most beautiful girls in my world, and I believe that, you know, like everybody else, you know, when they see me posting the two girls on social media, you know what I mean, they always give them props on how beautiful they are. So I'm actually proud of the two girls. My firstborn is Zinati and my secondborn is Zinle. So I'm a father of those two little girls. I'm a very personal person when it comes to like kids. I love them. I wish I can keep them at the same age if I could, but I can't. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they will grow, obviously, you know, out of the innocent stage. But as for now, they're beautiful, they're amazing, and yeah, that's pretty much the issue. Yeah.
So married to Dumile.
Yeah.
Dumile. I know you as an artist.
Yeah.
Tell us about your artistry and how you came into the whole art.
Yeah.
And what kind of artist are
Yeah.
you?
Okay. All right. What kind of an artist I am? I'm a visual artist. I've got honors degree on multimedia. So I've studied multimedia and graphics, and I did a bit of economics while I was economics was part of the modules that I was doing, like design techniques, economics, animation, communication design, and how to create logos, corporate identity, and all of those kind of things. So, but then I always had a natural gift of visual arts, you know, as in like pure drawing skills. So I found a niche basically in this art world. Just like any other artist, some artists will love to use, let's say, a canvas. Yeah. They would love to use a canvas as their form of medium, and they express whether it's realism art or it's style of art. So me, I'm strictly on realism because it fascinated me since I was a little boy. So that's the style of art that I'm doing. What got me into art is because I have this undeniable talent, and I felt like the talent of art mixed with the background of multimedia has expanded my creative thinking, so that I don't just do art. There is a process and there's also a concept that is start that whatever art that I'm doing, it starts with that concept, and then I enjoy the journey of going through the concept until the final product.
Okay.
Pretty much that's yeah.
So we noticed that you have actually tapped into the whole gender-based violence space
Yeah.
with your space,
Yeah.
with your art. Walk us through that journey and
Yeah.
why you're fascinated about gender-based violence.
Okay, so as I said, like specifically, my interest on gender-based violence is the fact that it is a topic that somehow every time it emerges in this country that we're living in South Africa in particular, I feel like somehow it gets to be swept under the carpet. It doesn't get given more airtime on TV, and there's no too much awareness that people actually are creating to actually push this agenda out there and make sure that men are more educated about this issue, because it's a very sensitive issue. To be honest with you, it should be a number one priority right now in this country. You know what I mean? I think that personally, because I have two daughters, I know how it feels to be defenseless. You know what I mean? To be in a situation where you rely on someone and that someone betrays you, and I couldn't just, I wouldn't actually imagine that happening to my own daughters. So I take it very personal, because I feel like we as men should be responsible to protect our women, you know what I, so we can create a better environment. But look at us outside now. There's a lot of single women. There's a lot of single families. Like, and unfortunately, maybe there are some circumstances that are, are behind that. But we can, if we work together, eliminate those issues and try to create a better environment. So specifically, I chose gender-based violence because that's one of the topics that came into mind, where I was asked by Levi Africa to create a jacket that's going to create an awareness, and I couldn't find any better topic other than that topic in particular, because I feel like it's something that needs to be pushed out there, and people should know about that. There are a vast majority of men that are against other men, that abusing females and abusing children in the process. And also, there was, giving you an example, an issue that was just happening in the country just a month ago, of a lady by the name of Ndokozo Mlambo, I think. She passed away, unfortunately. Condolences to the family. And she was apparently killed by the ex-boyfriend, or the boyfriend that she was currently dating at that time. And those kind of agendas slowly vanished. And now the country has moved on into another issue that has diverted that issue out of the scene, and put another issue about, maybe let's say what's currently now being talked about is a march on the 20th. The 20th of March, there's going to be like a national shutdown. Those kind of topics have emerged and wipe off. So I feel like it's been a trend. Every time there's a situation like this, that something else will divert the country into a different direction. Instead there be someone who's actually allocated to actually make sure that this agenda is attended to. And you wouldn't put a person like me to be a president, because I feel like I would really have like harsh laws against this particular matter, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I feel very personal about it. Yeah.
So earlier on, we were talking about how charity begins at home.
Yeah.
And what you're saying kind of resonates with a conversation we're having.
Yeah.
Because you've got daughters.
Yeah.
And it's not just you solving the problem for the world.
Yeah.
But it's also solving the problem for your daughter.
Yeah.
So once you get that message out and you bring in the awareness, you're
Yeah.
also making a better future.
Yeah.
In a better space for your children.
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying actually resonates, and
Yeah.
I hope more men like
Yeah.
you would actually rise up, because it's no
For
longer
sure.
just about them
Yeah.
and about the women, but
Yeah.
it's for the next generation.
Yeah, for sure,
Their
for
own
sure.
daughters and sons.
Yeah.
Because abuse also happens to boys.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
sure. I hear that. Yeah.
So you use denims
Yeah.
to express your art.
Yeah.
Why denims?
Why denims is a very good question.
Yeah.
I feel like because I had to search which medium of art would I want to use. Like, for instance, as I said, some people are using canvases, some people draw on walls, they do what you call graffiti art, you know what I mean, for maybe people that are driving by or pedestrians to look at the art on the walls. And I felt like, okay, cool. Since everybody has a piece of denim in their closet, wherever they are, somebody owns a denim jacket. So it would be easier for me to actually create these awarenesses on a pieces of clothing items, so that even at the stores where we buy our clothes, you still on your face having a choice of wearing this awareness that I'm actually trying to create. So if now I get a deal with Levi or H&M or Zara to customize their jackets, creating awareness about children abuse or women abuse, it will be something that they sell in their stores. Somebody has to make a choice whether they actually want to wear this, whether they've suffered this situation or know somebody who has suffered the situation, and put it out there. And the more they put it out there, the more the public is aware that some of us as men are against this, and we're trying to put it out there that there gotta be something that is done by the government to actually make sure that this is not happening in the country that we want to reap fruits. Because South Africa has beautiful kids, beautiful, intelligent women, beautiful daughters, and we're proud of that. So the worst thing that we can do is not to protect.
So you express yourself through art and on denims.
Yeah.
What kind of message are you painting
on the actual denims?
Yeah.
It will be diverse type of messages, and sometimes I would put a message about kids in particular. You know what I mean? Because look at what's happening. If you look at the news currently, you would probably see an article talking about a 2-year-old being raped, or a 5-year-old being killed, or a 3-year-old missing. So in these particular jackets, if I were to create a campaign, I would specifically make each jacket to have a different message, to carry a different message, because there's a lot of different forms of abuse. So it's not one abuse, like for instance murder. You can choose to starve your kids, for instance, you know what I mean. So I can create a campaign where I'm specifically focusing on starvation. I can choose a campaign where I'm specifically focusing on corporal punishment, like for instance when you beat up a kid. And so it depends on what agenda that I want to actually push out there and I want to put out there, you know what I mean. And you can, for instance, there was a post on Facebook just recently, about 2 days ago, and just so unfortunate, but fortunately at the same time, these kind of topics, they come into my page. I think it's the algorithm that's actually pushing this, because I always read about this gender-based violence. And there's a lady who posted herself being bruised and being beaten up by the boyfriend. It's actually something that I would have say I knew the lady. Let's say I knew the lady and I wanted to push a campaign against that. Then I would have made a story about her in particular, you know, creating images, writing messages on the denim jacket, so that you know the entire jacket is based on her suffering. You know, it's a very sensitive topic that one has to almost like nurse the person, the victim, through it, you know what I mean, to create that kind of art piece.
So with this question, I just want to actually understand the campaign. You spoke about the campaign.
Yeah.
But I want to zoom in. Like, let's just use one example of a jacket that you have done.
Yeah.
What was the purpose? What was the message? Who was it for? If you can reveal who it was for.
Yeah.
Who was it for?
Yeah.
So we have a better picture. So it's not just painting and then it's just quiet.
Yeah.
What was the motivation behind it? And how far did that jacket go? Does that person go and say, "Hey, Cana, do this for me"? Or what was the intention behind it?
Actually, it was just my personal choice to actually create the jacket.
Okay.
And Levi gave me an option of actually just as they actually gave me a jacket and say, you just create whatever that you feel like.
Canvas.
Yeah, it's a canvas. So I noticed what they did was to actually embroider flowers on the actual jacket. As soon as you put flowers, you're speaking to women, right? So the jacket, even the cut of the jacket, for instance, that I used as a canvas, was not necessarily a female cut, like a female shape cut jacket. It was a unisex type of clothing item. But then the fact that there were embroidery of flowers on it, I felt like it's my opportunity to put flowers to the victim, to actually give the flowers to the victims of gender-based violence. That's the first thing that came into my mind. It didn't give me an opportunity to celebrate, oh my goodness, or try to be romantic because now I'm seeing like the flowers and stuff like that. No, it gave me an opportunity to actually just take those flowers and give them to the victim, the people that never get given flowers most of the time because they are into their sufferings, they are not enjoying themselves, they're getting brutalized, getting beaten up, and some of them getting killed in the process, you know what I mean? So that was what actually pushed me to actually come up with that idea. But if you look at the images on the actual jacket itself, at the back of the jacket, I created a picture of a lady wearing a mask because now this was a time where COVID was like 26th of March, 2020, I think it was 2020, 26th of March. That's where first lockdown started. And it was just after the first lockdown has been lifted up. I think it was the 1st of June or something in the same year. And I got that gig with Levi. And the image that I did at the back of the Levi jacket was a lady crying, but then she has a mask covering her mouth. And that mask has hands, sort of like someone is closing her mouth, but then also uses, being silenced, and also taking advantage of the fact that nobody would see her if she's nobody would see the scars or maybe swollen lips and swollen face if she's wearing, if she's wearing a mask. So I took advantage of those two contrasting, because now you're looking at the mask being something that's supposed to be protecting you. You know what I mean? Yes. And now also that mask is actually protecting the criminal, behind her. You know what I mean? And you could kind of play with that kind of like image. You know what I mean? It's a very powerful jacket. Levi, you owe me that jacket. I need to come and fetch you, Levi Africa, if you're listening to this. Beautiful jacket, well-made jacket. It's got images of women like protesting, holding placards, lifting the placards up, and said, "Senzeni, enough is enough." Like most women will always protest against the abuse, and everything will be swept under the carpet, as I said earlier on. So pretty much it showed those kind of images.
So when we talk about gender-based violence, it's highly inclusive. It's not just women and children, but we also have the LGBTQI community. Have you ever done work for the community, or do you have any intentions of raising awareness when it comes to gender-based violence?
Not necessarily. To be all honest, I haven't done any work for them. It's something that I'll probably look at in the future. But specifically, I was focusing on what has been transpiring for a longest time since I've been growing up. I've seen it in person. That I would see a man from next door beating up the wife, and the wife will be screaming out, and she will be running out of the house. I've experienced that in my own family, not necessarily the immediate family, but maybe the cousins, and where we would visit, and we will see the parents fighting into a physical altercation. You know what I mean? So I've seen this happening physically, in particular with those children and women. You know what I mean? So hence I took those two in particular to be the ones that I'm focusing on in particular.
Okay, so it's from experience.
It's from
your exposure.
Yeah, for sure.
That speaks highly to you and your experience. So the first time we actually met you was at Rose Bank,
Yeah.
And you're putting up your art on display.
Yeah, for sure.
Phenomenal work. I can attest to that. I mean, because we were smitten.
Yeah.
When we actually saw your work.
Yeah.
And we saw I think it was Kevin Hart's jacket.
It was Kevin Hart.
Hart's jacket.
Yeah.
What happened to that?
Yeah.
One, two. I noticed that every art you have this specific signature where you put an equation.
Yeah.
What is that all about? So let's talk about Kevin Hart first, and then we'll talk about the equation.
All right. Well, let's talk about Kevin Hart. Okay, I've done quite a lot of jackets, to public figures that have influence in South Africa for our people, and obviously overseas, the people that we look up to. And I've done jackets for, I think the jacket that stood out the most in the beginning of, all this career was Connie Ferguson and the late Shona Ferguson, who I took as my big brother, you know what I mean? So because a lot of people's like, oh, you look like Shona, and you know what I mean? And I really, really love the guy. I still love him to bits, you know what I mean? And I still look at some of his pictures and stuff like that, because it was a real definition of what I thought he was, an alpha male. And I did an anniversary jacket, unaware that it's their anniversary. And I've actually done the jacket, and I kept on delaying giving them the jacket. I was delaying in between. I was like, should I give them? I don't know. How are they gonna, and a friend of mine gave me a call the other day. It's like, he's a boxer, so he's the one that trains Connie Ferguson. So he called me. He's like, Dumamzo. He calls Connie Ferguson Dumamzo. Dumamzo is coming over today for a training section. I'm like, this is my opportunity. Let me just go without thinking. I don't want to think. Don't want to complicate anything. And the way she received it was amazing. It was the first time that I've ever met someone, and maybe everybody else who has gone through the same process of being, not getting too many opportunities out there. It was the first time that I someone who has things, because she is established, she's got production company, she's got this, she's an actress. And it was the first time that someone actually gave me so much opportunity. And she told me straight up after I handed the jacket to her that I'm going to give you an opportunity right now to make something out of this. I'm going to put it up on my social media. And on my social media, I've got this much following and stuff like that. I'm telling you, the following grew overnight because of her.
Wow.
And it was so positive. And that led me into being attracted to actually make jackets for other personalities. I've reached out to Zozi being Ndunzi. She was Miss Universe and Miss South Africa, and I've created a jacket for her. And unfortunately, I saw some glimpses of the pictures that she was wearing the jacket in New York, but I haven't literally contacted her and just ask her about the journey of wearing the jacket, and how did she feel when she got the jacket. I mean, I've done jackets for Ricky Rick's wife, the passing of Ricky Rick, just to console the family, and she has not yet fetched the jacket, but understand that the idea now is to console people or to encourage people that are doing the right things. And hence, when I heard that Kevin Hart was coming to our shows, and Kevin Hart is going to give us a comedy show, the first thing that came into my mind, let me create a jacket for him. And this is not about finances or anything. It's just obviously just to push my brand, my work out there. And because Kevin Hart is a big personality, so this jacket was created specifically to commemorate his works. All the work that he has done, the movies that he has done, the awards, the BET awards, the Jumanji movies and stuff like that. And I wanted to use specifically 94.7 to be the ones that are actually honoring Kevin Hart with the jacket. And I've reached out to Big City as well. Is it Big City? Big Concert. I think Big Concert, the ones, organizing the whole comedy show in Pretoria. I've reached out to Sprite SA. So all of those three groups of companies is yet to come back to me and say, okay, cool, we have an idea of how we're gonna get the jacket to be sent to him. Okay. Because I think by the time they knew about the jacket because I tried to reach out in all of it. Was too late for them to actually deposit the jacket to Kevin Hart. Okay. But it's something that is always can be done. It's proudly South African. I've done it myself, and pretty much that's where we stand as far as that jacket is concerned. You know, lovely. Yeah.
Let's talk about the formula.
Okay, so
what's with the formula? Like, it's just so random.
Yeah, it's a random thing. I think it's a habit. I had challenges when I was actually at school, high school, both high school, even like maybe first year of tertiary. I think my intellectual capacity kicked in, you know, maybe first year towards maybe going to a first year in university. You know what I mean? I always thought a problem with mathematics or science and stuff like that. So I decided to actually teach myself mathematics and science. So I want to keep it a mystery for now as into why exactly I'm fascinated to actually work out these solutions, the most complicated solutions of science and mathematics. I find a space in most of the jackets that I actually make for big personalities to work out the most complicated scientific formula right on those space of the jacket. You know, how it doesn't gel with the person, or it's something that I want people to actually keep wondering, why does it do this? Why is it working out on a mathematics formula on actually on a jacket and stuff like that? Because these jackets, first thing first, they're not requested, but they are gifts that are coming from me. You know what I mean? So it's up to you to want to figure out, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Yeah, it's only then I can reveal the secret. But it's just the habit that I actually do. I've seen quite a lot of designers have, for instance, I've seen someone online on YouTube not so long ago who said they've reached out to Chris Brown. They reached out to Kendrick Lamar. And both those people never answered back on social media. But when the person reached out to Kanye, for somehow he got a little bit of movement. So you see him on the video on YouTube painting Kanye and decides to actually spray a paint of red on Kanye West's ear as an ear as if it's bleeding. And that's the person's trademark, you know, and nobody can explain what exactly happens to that artist's mind except for that guy.
Okay. All right.
It's a similar thing with me and these scientific methods that I'm actually putting on the jackets.
All right. So it's your signature.
So it's my signature. It's a mystery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has anybody solved it?
No, not yet. Not yet. Yes, because I actually do come up with all of this and leave the space where there's supposed to be an answer. Yeah, for someone to actually try and solve it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try it today.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I want to drive the conversation now back to gender-based violence.
Yeah, gender-based
violence. As you were creating your elements, what message are you wanting to push? I mean, what's your passion? What's your message?
Yeah.
When somebody gets your jacket, what energy do you want them to get from that particular jacket? Yeah.
Okay.
And is it only jackets, or do you also go into trousers, into other forms of denim, jeans and stuff like that?
It's only now that I'm seeing quite a lot of people demanding to actually just do a jean to jean, like maybe the top and the bottom. You know what I mean? I never really paid attention. I know every single person owns a pair of jeans. I know a vast majority of people actually owns a pair of denim jackets. So that I'm comfortable. So that's why I actually opted with the denim jacket, because it's that medium feels so good to actually do my artwork on. It's almost like a canvas. The material of the denim jacket is amazing to actually do my artwork on. You know what I mean? And okay, so I'm trying to get into like what message I'm trying to portray out there. First thing first, I want the people to actually just to be aware that all of these leading retail stores now, if you see, like even from Mr. Price, Zara, H&M, Cotton On, Levi, Diesel, Miris, and Louis Vuittons, you see a lot of denim work being customized. And they try to even customize the shoes now, like Dolce & Gabbana does that, Batu does that. They customize the shoes into what the client wants to see specifically. So it's no more now accepting what you see on the stores but then you want to own this piece to be yours and specifically to be yours. So if it has an element of your personality on them, and being a person that will always walk around and shop around and look at other items that I'm seeing, I feel like the industry needs the people like me more to come out. Because we have now these European companies, they come here, or maybe American or whatever, but they have their own style of designing or customizing the denims. And you often hear a lot of people saying, hey, that's not enough, I wish they had more of this and that. So I want to take it as a personal journey for myself to actually produce in masses. So I'm going into mass production basically. So if I have an idea of creating a story of, let's say, a public figure like Desmond Tutu on a denim jacket that belongs to Zara, for instance, because now South Africans are the ones that are supporting these brands and stuff like that. They're buying from H&M, they're buying from Zara and stuff like that. So how about including African elements, in these denims, and push, those kind of sales, so people can identify what they're buying to what they can relate to. You know what I mean? So if I'm the one who's going to be customizing those, that's the agenda that I actually want to push, that there is a South African person who can tell South African stories in these clothing items, so that South African people can relate more to these clothes that you guys are selling for South African people. Basically. Do you understand? So I just wish that they could be more realistic with their clothing in terms of pushing awarenesses like gender-based violence. Gender-based violence is an important topic that it can't be swept under the carpet no more. So if it takes a company like Levi, for instance, to actually create these, and I even know the process of actually creating these jackets. So a friend of mine revealed that I can create a jacket as a demo and cut it into pieces in those patterns, and actually copy all of those patterns into some sort of a print and just make a duplicate in a factory of those. That's how you push mass production, basically. So make a duplicate of each jacket, so that I don't make one by one jackets, you know what I mean? I can actually just duplicate the artwork and actually print it to other jackets that maybe over 50 jackets, for instance. Do you understand what I mean? So that maybe if I find an outlet, any company that wants to work with me, they can say, okay, let me just take these jackets and put them on my store. You know what I mean? So that's how you actually manage to reach a lot of people, by creating awareness with these jackets.
I absolutely love the whole proudly South African and us telling our own stories through your artwork. And I understand that at the moment, gender-based violence is what's happening. And we need to focus on that and bring awareness towards that. But I also like the narrative of using your platform, using your art to remove the cloud of ignorance. I mean, most people don't read news. Our generation doesn't. They don't read news. They don't. But instilling that awareness and information, that knowledge back into our people through your artwork, that's a brilliant concept.
For sure.
And mass producing it. And hopefully you'll be able to do that for generations to come. So as we close, my last question is, beyond that, what is your aspiration for your brand?
Okay.
And what is your brand name?
Okay, so my brand name is called Marked by Cana. I've seen now a lot of people, if I type that hashtag, it will tell me exactly how many posts on Instagram that has been under that hashtag in particular. If you say hashtag Marked by Cana, it will show more than 100 posts that have actually been done under that. So the biggest aspiration about this is to work with these brands that are already existing. For instance, before I even start looking at actually creating employment, for instance, creating employment for me would be working with a South African black-based designer, for instance, that is going to be creating these jackets from scratch. For instance, creating a denim from scratch. Me, I just come in with my artwork. So that's working in partnerships, basically. So I also would need someone who's going to be answering questions for me. So if I can get someone in administration, so that I don't have to worry about administration, I worry about my design, and worry about the person that I've actually employed. So I want to create a team that's going to be working under Marked by Cana. However, at this process, I would love to put the brand out there more. So hence I'm targeting celebrities to actually wear these jackets and put the word out there, you know what I mean, using their statuses, of course, and hoping I can reach out to a brand that's willing to work with me and say, you know what, you taking over this customization world, because that's the only way that you can speak to the youth without the youth sitting down and listening to the boring news that are talking about the same thing, election campaigns and all of that. You know what I mean? Those news are boring to young people. Young people want to look good. And the only way that you can put a communication out there is to actually put the message on their clothing items so that they can read about it at their clothing. They can read about their history on clothing items. And I'm the best person to customize those kind of clothes. And if I can get a company that I can work with and a well-known brand that I can actually combine my artwork, my creative work, and their status and put it together and put it out there. There are South African-based designers, for instance, Abotsepo, Abolatu, Amaklosa, that I would love to work with. You know what I mean? Those South African-based designers, man, if they can open up an opportunity for me to work with, because I relate with them. But I'm okay still with working with Levi, who has opened doors for myself in the beginning, and for other many more creatives that came to Levi Africa just down the road here in Parktown. And you would want companies like Diesel, as I said, Zara, Dolce and Gabbana, and all of these companies to merge more with South African based artists than just being out there in Italy, because I don't really think, as much as it's fascinating to have those Italian designs, but we would like to actually include our South African flavor on them. Yeah.
Proudly South African.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So have you done any notable work, any survivor of gender-based violence?
Yes, I've done work. I've actually created a jacket for someone who has gone through the whole process of being abused when she was young, and the whole process of surviving, or going through these multiple different types of abuses, whether it's been, being abused physically on a previous relationship that she was in. And I've actually literally been with this person, like romantically, I've been involved with this lady, you know what I mean? Despite knowing that she has gone through that, but I felt like, she deserves the world, and I actually personally had to take it upon myself to actually make sure that I nurse her through the situation and make sure that those scars, when they emerge again, you know what I mean, I managed to find a way to suppress them, and to make sure that she enjoys the journey of being with me, and know that she doesn't have to worry about being abused, and she is dealing with someone who's really sensitive about the topic. Hence, I created a jacket for her to actually just encourage her to actually say, you got to this point of your life, even though you went through these bad things, but then you got to this point of your life where you actually survived it all. Now you are reaping the fruits of being positive in that situation, and now you are with someone who can actually protect you and create something monumental for you to look back and look at and say, hey, I've gone through ABC, but look at me being positive, I'm still here, and there are people that love me and accept me for who I am. That's what, yeah.